Obviously, you've seen the title, the thumbnail. I'm sure if you follow us at all, you've seen what's going on. We just want to take this opportunity to sit and talk with you about it. It's going to be just a long stream of consciousness of just getting a lot of things out. And we appreciate you for being here and listening to us.
Yeah, this has been a really hard... All right, so today is January 17th. It is 10 days after the Palisades fire. This has been a really hard 10 days. Both of our homes burned down. Part of this is almost therapy of us getting to just tell you the story, talk to you about what happened. And part of this is us talking about what else is, I guess, what else is going to happen on this channel.
Yeah, what's going to happen on this channel.
And we're gonna tell you this story. We're gonna make this video, and then we have a bunch of episodes that we shot before the fire. We're gonna put those out, and then we're gonna figure out what's next from there. But this is the story of our experience with the Palisades fire.
I don't want to sugarcoat this, and I don't want to make any false promises. The Palisades is a complete disaster zone. Everything is gone.
Where we're standing in Pacific Palisades, actually just up the street from me, I mean, we can see live fire flames there, and you can see all the red over the hills. So these fires are still...
I'm a third generation firefighter, and my grandfather's first assignment in 1937 was Fire Station 69. My blood runs deep there, and it's extremely, extremely hard for me to look you in the eye, knowing that, quite honestly, I feel like I failed you to some respect.
First and foremost, I'm born and raised in the Palisades. I spent my whole life there. My family lives there. My brother lives there. My aunts and uncles live there. My cousins live there, or I guess lived. Where I went to elementary school, where I went to middle school, like where I went to the doctor, where I played in the park, the library. But I just can't believe that, like, that's the place that burned down. Now, the crazy thing for us is that both of us just bought homes there. I bought a home in January of 2024. My wife and I were building that home for the whole year last year, and it was like a big swing. But it was like a massive goal of mine my whole life to be able to buy a home back there where I grew up and raise my family there. I think we're gonna try and push this wall back. I don't know how that works, but it's gonna happen. Here's the kitchen right now. This is also all gonna change. And we finally moved in like at the end of last year, right after Thanksgiving. We're expecting a baby now any day. So we were really like building this life, and at the same time, like just through this amazing feeling like idyllic moment, like Colin and his wife moved to the Palisades too, like 3 minutes down the road.
Yeah, so we bought a house there in September, also a major swing to do it.
You've got a house! How's it feel?
Crazy. Last night at dinner I said, Colin, how do you feel without using the word crazy?
A little speechless.
And almost like shocking to buy a home in California. And for me and my wife, who are both from New Jersey, and for me specifically, I spent so much of my time of my 13, 14 years in LA, moving from place to place to place to place, trying to find a sense of home.
Today is move out day, and as you can see, my entire apartment is totally empty, which feels kind of weird. Because I don't know really where I'm living next. Or what's gonna happen at all.
And buying this house felt like the culmination of that story arc in a way, of just this permanence of here I am, there's no question of where I'm going, or, you know, kind of putting the instability of my past out here in the past.
Yeah, it felt so crazy because it had felt like 13 years of work had culminated in this life that we were building. Where it's like, we're going to be in the same neighborhood. Our kids are going to grow up together. They're going to be down the street from each other. And we were like, it was so quick. It was so short. We were like just starting to get a glimpse of this life. But here's how it went. Like growing up in the Palisades, every now and again there was a fire. There was like where I grew up, there was a fire road. And sometimes we'd have to take the fire road if there was a fire up in the mountains. So it's not like it was an uncommon occurrence, but it always was like handled. New Year's Eve, there was a fire. My parents called me at 4 a.m. and said they might have to come down to my house. And it was like this kind of moment where they had to evacuate, and there was like someone had lit fireworks, and there was a fire. It got handled by 6:30 a.m. Everything's all good. Okay, great. So then we go out of town for 2 days for hosting a creator retreat with Spotter. And I'm incredibly anxious because my wife is 37 weeks pregnant. So I fly her sister in because that's my anxiety. Is like, she could have the baby.
And you may have to leave
and I may have to leave at any moment. And like, I was gone for 48 hours. So I get a call from my parents the first morning of this event on Tuesday morning saying, hey, there's another fire up by our house. And my dad is talking to me about the fire, and I'm like, okay, do you need to evacuate? You might as well just leave. And he's like, no, the firefighters are here. I think we're all right. They're saying everything's gonna be all right. And I was like, can you see it from the house? And he said, yeah. And then I said, okay, take a picture and send it to me. And this is the picture that my dad sent me. And when I saw like that fire, I was like, oh, I've never seen anything like that. And
I mean, I live down the hill.
Yeah.
And my wife sent me a video from my neighborhood of that fire. We were texting about, oh, maybe you'll have to evacuate, maybe you won't. And then 20 minutes later, she sent me another video. And we both knew immediately. We were like, oh yeah, you have to evacuate. But even then, I thought maybe a night. Truly at this time, I thought, okay, maybe she'll stay at a friend's house for a night.
Yeah. This whole day, I was in the middle of like, my parents didn't evacuate at that moment. So they just stayed for a bit. And then when it came time to evacuate, they tried to evacuate and they couldn't. And so they were stuck in the middle of this hill that they live on. And I was just coordinating with my brother, with them, with talking to you.
Yeah.
Just sitting here, like
trying to get as much information as we possibly can.
And trying to get them out. And that took hours and hours and hours. And that's where, if you've seen the videos of the cars parked, they tried to go down and all the cars were parked.
All of these cars were ditched. So all of the drivers panicked. They took their keys. This is Palisades Drive.
And people had run. People had abandoned their cars so they couldn't drive down.
Yeah.
So eventually that got bulldozed hours later, and then both of our wives evacuated. I had no idea. I'd never heard of anything like this in the Palisades. I had no idea how serious this was gonna be, but I really thought if the fire made it down to where we lived, that would mean the whole town was gone.
So there's no way that's gonna happen.
So there was no way that was gonna happen.
And then being away and watching the news, I couldn't believe what we were seeing.
This is the Palisades Recreation Center, and there are embers flying all around the building. There's a playground here. This is where people come to play pickleball, to walk their dogs. But the way it looks right now, it does not appear that this area is going to make it through the night.
And then I remember being a little bit in shock, and you were like, yeah, we're flying home tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, oh my gosh, like that's exactly what we need to do. We got to get out of here.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm recording this just to remember this. Today is January 7th, 2025. Sorry, today's January 8th, 2025. It is the day of the Palisades fire.
And when we're flying back the next day on the plane, following everything and seeing, okay, there's a fire in the Palisades, there's a fire in Altadena, and then a fire breaks out in Hollywood. And we're looking at photos and videos of people walking on foot and a full-on traffic jam in Hollywood, and seeing the fires out the window of the plane and just being like, what world are we now entering into?
While we were in the car on the way to the airport, I got a text of the video of my home burned down. And that was exceptionally hard. I literally, prior to leaving for this trip, had just finished building the crib. I had just finished building the nursery. We had just had this like amazing holiday time together of like exchanging gifts in the house and having breakfast. And we were talking about building these traditions for our kids. And it was exceptionally hard to see that image.
I know.
The fire is still going right now. It's 3 days after. I'm headed to see the Palisades for the first time.
One of the more interesting, strange moments was Samir had the opportunity to be on CNN, so we were able to actually go into the Palisades and do a small part of it.
This doesn't feel real.
Looked like a movie set.
Well, congratulations on the baby. That is a wonderful thing, no matter what in life. Like, that's a.
This is Colin, by the way.
Hi, Colin. Aaron Burnett. Nice to meet you. I'm sorry for your loss. That's
This is unreal. It was weird. It was weird. Like the news, it's a great platform to be able to speak, and like I really wanted to speak on behalf of the town that's mine, that I grew up in. But it's also weird. It's like these moments are like entertainment for the news.
Yeah,
like they're
it's a
great.
set.
It's a set. There's lighting, there's cameras, there's makeup,
And they're just interested in like grieving man and pregnant wife lose everything.
Yeah.
You know, they're interested in like,
I'm like
the Chiron.
Yeah, but I'm happy I got the opportunity, and I would take it again. And yeah.
And just so people understand, you just had managed to buy this house. You had saved up for it. Your parents, you said, were refugees.
Yeah, my parents experienced the partition in India, in the Indian-Pakistan partition. They got displaced from their homes. My dad came here in the 70s. First had a mobile home on Tahitian Terrace, then made enough money to buy a home on Bienvenida, and then in the 80s bought land in the Highlands. And what's incredible now is I was sitting with my parents, who are also displaced. Their goal was to make sure that their kids never experienced what they experienced, being displaced from their home.
Displaced, refugee.
Yeah. And we were looking at each other and just going, I mean, it's a story we've told forever in our family, that they were able to root our family here in the Palisades.
And now you're going through this, but thank God together. And with this, this joy of a rebirth and a restart with your child.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Samir. And Abby, back to you.
The crazy part for me of watching the videos and watching the news was, and I had talked to you about, it's like the whole thing with my son about to be born. The thing I've been talking about the most is that because I'm from a family of immigrants and my parents were displaced from the partition in India, I just kept repeating that it was the first time in my family's history that a son would be born in the same place as their father. And I cannot believe my whole adult life was focused on trying to get back to that place to raise my family. And then like the following days in LA, you're like packing up the car, and you look in the car and you're like, that is 100% of my stuff.
It's January 14th, and everything we own is in this car. Including you.
Fit a couple suitcases, some pillows.
Monday, January 13th, 6 days after the fire. You are 38 weeks pregnant. We are in an Airbnb in Culver City. And those moments, you start recognizing all the things. You start thinking about, like for me, I had a hard drive of footage from the moment that I decided to propose to Katie to our wedding. I vlogged and talked through the whole thing, and I wanted to make a video for my kids. And that hard drive is gone. I don't even I haven't let that, you can barely sit with it.
Yeah, I was trying to understand, in some ways it's it's not just the house and the stuff, but it's what the stuff reminds you of. And John Mayer wrote this and shared it on social media. He said, next to the immeasurable loss of life is the loss of proof of life. And that made so much sense to me, that it was the places that remind you of memories that you won't walk by anymore, or the things on your shelf that remind you of a memory, or all the things my mom had just sent out 2 boxes full of my childhood memories and letters I had written to her when I was a kid, and photos and everything. The timing of that is crazy, but all of that is gone, and it's I don't even know what's in there, but I know what's in there are things that remind me of proof of life, of my childhood, of my mom, of my grandparents. And that's the stuff that you sit, and if you think about long enough, that's what really hurts. And I think it's what hurts for a lot of people right now, is the loss of the proof of life and of the memories, not just the stuff.
Yeah. I think one of the hardest images I've seen so far is the image of your house and the fireplace and chimney still up.
It's surreal.
I just can't believe so much of the town is unrecognizable. You look at it and you're these streets are unrecognizable. But the hard thing is when you see something recognizable. Mm-hmm. And your fireplace, we were just there.
Yeah.
I have a video of us just there.
All right. Okay. What we got? Oh! It's a boy!
Oh, it's a big guy!
Wow. Oh my God. Yeah, finding out the gender of my future kid.
And we were filming that. I was filming that, and I was standing right there, 2 weeks ago.
Something I've been sharing with people too is that in some ways I look at the 4 or 5 months that I was in that house, and they actually were some of the most wonderful 4 to 5 months of my entire time in LA. And that in some ways it's such a blessing to look back on that time and have nothing but primarily good memories of that house, of that neighborhood, of running into you in the neighborhood, and different friends. And it just adds a different light on it when you can look back and realize how fortunate I was to even have those months that were just wonderful.
The biggest lesson that I feel I've learned here is who are we to think that we are entitled to tomorrow what we have today? Not in a dark way, not in just in a light way of extreme gratitude. And it's gonna be really hard. If I was on the other side of hearing this story or seeing these images, I would feel sad for the people who are experiencing this. And I have in the past. I have felt sad. I've gone, how can I help? Can I donate somewhere? Okay, I'll do that. And then a week or two goes by and you move on with your life. Mm-hmm. And you don't think about what this means. Of course you don't. It's not your life.
Yeah, I'm coming out of this with a lot more empathy for people who go through these types of things alone. Whether that means alone because of their community or it's a singular thing that happens to just them or to just you. If it was just your house that burned down and just your things that were lost or just your loved one who was lost, what that must feel like if you don't have a community. And it's to be us and go through this experience, to have the support we have, I will remember it for the rest of my life. With this tragic loss and memory also will come the memory of how supported I've felt my family has felt, my wife, Samir, it's just been truly unbelievable.
Yeah. One of the byproducts of this moment is like community and people like coming together. Like all of our friends replaced our baby stuff, like all the stuff that we had bought for our son. We'd been spending months buying stuff for our son, and all of that was gone. And then like these beautiful moments of our friends coming over with like baby clothes and washing
and
them,
meals,
and folding them, and meals, and making us laugh.
I've cried with so many people that I've never cried with before, and that's such a weird thing to say, but it's such a nice byproduct of it to like cry with a lot of people in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And then to laugh with those people in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, like my parents, like I don't like. Their whole experience of life has been about being displaced and finally rooting in this place where like the family could grow. Like the fact that I can't believe it. Like my whole life has been about that narrative. And like just to see them go through this, and then also to like on the other side to have my friends like make them laugh.
Go do it again.
Is so beautiful that like these places mean so much, but like the people, these people, like I cannot emphasize enough how impactful the people are around you. Like to the creators, to the companies, to the friends, like everyone has jumped into action in a way to support us that like I feel so incredibly resourced, and like this is going to be a long road. Like it really is. It's going to be a long road. We have a lot to figure out on like these homes. We have a lot to figure out when it comes to like this work that we do, to our families. Like there's a lot to process and a lot to figure out. And truly, like all the support is so helpful. It really is.
A major part of the support is the GoFundMe that was started by the guys from Dude Perfect. That was one of the most overwhelming things to see. And again, another reason why we feel incredibly fortunate and grateful right now.
Truly, you zoom out and you think about the people and the community, and the support is like so unbelievable. And there's a lot of people in Los Angeles right now who don't have that. And as we're getting to more stable ground now, like we're getting there, both emotionally and physically. I really want to invest a lot in supporting Los Angeles. Like this is my home. The Palisades is my home. Like there's a lot of people who need a lot of help, and you know, we will figure out how to help people. Yeah.
We'll put some links in the description if you are watching and wondering how you can support some of the people that are going through harder times than us right now in LA. And my ask for you as you go throughout your daily life is to come at people with empathy and understand that you have no idea what that person might be going through. I had this experience where I was driving. I didn't know where we were going to stay that night. And I'm looking through the windows of this gym, and people are working out. And it felt like my whole life was burning down. Like my whole LA was on fire, but not everyone's was on fire. And I just had this realization of like, you never know who you come into contact with at any moment if their version of life is on fire. And it reminded me to have a little bit of empathy and like grace for people before jumping to any conclusions, and just try and go about your life giving people that grace and that empathy, even if they don't ask for it.
I just want to say thank you to all of you, like for everyone who, if you engage with us in any way, like you are supporting us. You're supporting us, you're supporting our team, you're supporting this outlet for us. And even like the fact that we can just sit here and talk Like this in and of itself has been very therapeutic.
I also want to thank first responders and firefighters and everyone, because although it is a devastating event and so much is gone and so much is going to have to be rebuilt, those people have been there the whole time. And when we went up and Samir was on CNN, the fire trucks were not just from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
They were from all
That was
over
amazing.
the country. Firefighters also from Canada, from Mexico.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Like, man, firefighters, you are the salt of the earth. Like, firefighters, whew,
Yeah.
thank you guys. In terms of moving forward on this channel, we have honestly a good amount of episodes that we shot before this happened, and that, you know, credit to our team, they've been working on finishing and getting ready while we've been dealing with this. So after this video, we're going to have a series of interviews and episodes that are going to come out that were filmed in a pre-fire world. And that's what we're going to start with. We're going to put those episodes out, and then we'll see what comes after that. You know, with Samir's going to be a father in T-minus any day now.
Like
that's going to change a lot of things.
Yeah, in a week.
I'm having a baby in July, and we both are in totally new environments in a new world. So we're going to start with those first few episodes, and we'll see what comes after that.
Be kind to each other. Be grateful for this day and whatever you have today. And thank you. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to every YouTube creator, every viewer, every family member, friend who let us stay at their place over the past week. Like, thank you guys. And thank you for continuing to watch and support us. We'll be back. We will be back.
Because of course you're right now days away from, you know, what will be and what should be one of the greatest joys of your life. And hopefully looking back will be. And yet it comes in the context of the home that you built for that baby, the home that you have spent a decade working to earn, to buy, is gone. How are you right now emotionally balancing joy and grief?
The thing that is keeping me going is that he doesn't know. He doesn't know that this happened. My son does not know that this happened. He'll only know the world that we show him. And so when he comes out, we have the opportunity to show him a world filled with joy and kindness, a world that's my wife and my smiling faces. That's the world that he'll know. He doesn't know this happened. And it's our job to protect him from that.